We are really getting down to the end of the regular season now, which is so crazy to say because this Panthers season has been so fun. Jonathan, I just want to start with obviously the big news of the week. One of your players that you work very closely, J.C. Horn, getting recognized on the Pro Bowl. What does that just mean to you to see a guy like him getting recognized in back-to-back years?
I mean, it's super exciting just because he's worked so hard and done so much after starting his career with a bunch of injuries, and then these last 2 seasons to be available and everybody in the world can see how great of a player he is. It's just been great for everybody to share in what we've known about him, and he deserves all the recognition that he gets.
He's a leader on the field, off the field. We hear him in the locker room speak, but I'm always fascinated during practice when we get a little glimpse of him and Mike Jack working off to the side. How do the two of them kind of make each other better as players? Obviously, Mike's having a great year himself too, but it seems like they have their own routines and they really feed off of the energy that they bring to one another.
Yeah, this year they've really gravitated toward each other, and just they're both 2 different players. And so what one is good at, they help the other one at it. So like they're able to. We do these things on Friday where they compete against each other, and I kind of like to amp up the friction between the two because the competitiveness and like seeing who can get more picks.
Yeah.
So yeah, they've been able to hit a groove and sometimes just able to like roll the ball out and they get into their thing and they're out there on the field with each other, and so the more cohesion that they have, the better off we'll be. But I've loved seeing that relationship bloom.
How does that competitive aspect and also just the talent level that the two of them have kind of also push you in terms of how you coach them and just how you approach coaching in general?
Well, I think it just, I respond really well to challenges, and so when we have guys that are competitive, that want to be at their best, it requires me to show up at my best every single day. And being able to have that push from the players is just what I crave. So I'm right at home with it.
They both have had a number of picks this season so far. Lathan Ransom, obviously, with that game-sealing one just this past weekend. The defense has stepped up, especially compared to where they were from a season ago. From your perspective, who's been here for a couple years now, what's kind of been the root of the turnaround, would you say, that the defense has been able to make under you guys and the coaching staff?
Well, I think the guys staying steady and patient and really believing in us as coaches that we want to put them in the best position possible. And I think we've been seeing that belief come to life through the guys making plays. And I think it'll just continue to get better and better as we build cohesion. But really from Dave's last year to this year, just been able to build off the things that we had last year and not start at square one. And that's really held a benefit for us. Now these guys are able to play together and stacking downs. It only makes us better.
I remember during the offseason, Dave was asked about Ejiro Evera's game plan and his defensive scheme, and he said, I like the scheme, and we're sticking with that scheme. And it seems like you're saying, rather than starting from square one, is sticking with that plan and just working forward with it. How would you say, I know you guys have had a history with each other going back towards the Rams as well, your relationship grown between you and Ejiro as you guys are working through this season at this point?
I think the trust level is probably at an all-time high between him and I. He allows me, he empowers me through what I see best from the defensive backs in our room. And then, we're on the same page with how he calls the game. And I think it's vital for, any coordinator to have alignment with his position coaches to be able to call the game exactly how they're coaching it on an individual basis.
Yeah.
And when that comes to life, you see a beautiful thing.
Yeah. I mean, it's been a lot of fun. There's been so many moments this season. Is there anything that comes to mind for someone maybe in the defensive passing game that you can point to being like, this is it, this is all the work we have been working for and we're seeing it on display? Or any pick in particular or any particular coverage that you really look back at and you're like, this shows how far we have come maybe from this year to the prior years?
I think there's a couple plays that stand out. I think there was a play against the Packers when Trayvon Moehrig, I have a comment on that play on our system that this is our defense. we talk about when people throw the ball deep versus us, we want it to be a team meeting in the deep part of the field. And there was 3 of our guys there, and he just caught the pop fly. And so I think that was a quintessential marker of like what we talk about in meetings, what we want our defense to look like. And that play was one of them that came to life. And, these guys have been awesome this year. They're a tough, smart group that have been available consistently for us. And so there's numerous plays out there that come to life in a walkthrough setting that we may only get a chance to cover once, and they make big plays off of it.
Yeah. What is that personality or, I guess, descriptor you would say you want this defense to have and to hold on to?
Tough and smart.
Yeah.
I want guys that be able to play physical, that they have to deal with us when we throw hands on the perimeter. And then I want a smart unit that understands our situations and capitalizes when the moment's right.
One of the biggest parts of this year in terms of the defense, of course, getting Derek Brown back and healthy. How does he make everyone on all phases of the defense better as players?
One of my mentors told me is like your A player's got to play A.
Yeah.
And Derek Brown's an A player. So when he's out there, throwing people out the club, it
literally.
Him being back is you could just say him single-handedly has improved our run defense with as good as he's played. But he just gives calmness, and then he's come to life in a pass rush since this year. And so just having him out there gives us confidence. I know it gives Ejiro confidence in calling the game, and I know it gets our players confidence understanding like that big homie's up there protecting us.
You mentioned Trayvon Merrick, and I mentioned Lathan earlier too. There's been a couple of new insertions into this defense as well this year. Of course, guys like Derek, not new, but he's back, and there's been a couple more guys who have been here over time, but some of these new faces. And then we can also look to the linebackers with some of the other rookies, Christian Roseboom as well. How are just like the pieces you feel come together from what you guys went out to do during the offseason, whether it be drafting or trades or just kind of painting this picture of this new look Panthers team?
Well, I think, it's a credit to our front office and collaboration with the coaches that we had a plan and a vision for our defense and what we wanted to look like in year 2. Players like Trayvon, he's exactly and even better than we expected. Christian Roseboom has been able to fit in his role well. Especially, it's been an elevated role because Josie Jewell went out for us, which was unexpected. I think the vision and the collaboration between the coaches in the front office has allowed our new pieces to come to life, so that's a credit to Dan Morgan and his staff for sure.
It's week 17, there's just 2 games left in this regular season, and you guys are sitting in first place in the NFC South. Of course, it's not shored up yet. There's still plenty of more football to be played, but is this a point where you guys envisioned you would be, just I guess for you being here for your 3rd year now, that you're here fighting for the division and fighting for a chance to extend your season into the postseason at this point?
I'm a big believer in speaking things into existence, and the law of attraction. So this offseason, when people would ask me about, well, when's your season ending? And I'm like, we are going to the playoffs, so sometime in February is the expectation. And just wrapping our mind around the vision. And so, like, when you get here, it's not a surprise. I think that's me personally, that just speaking that this is what we're going to be. Let's be as present as possible. And, I think we can do anything as long as we just stay at it. And, in the difficult times, you kind of got to remind yourself of that vision. We started off, 1-3. And so just remaining at the vision and understanding our plan, if we just keep working at it, will come to fruition.
Has any of that surprised you in any way, to be living out that vision that you painted and spoken to existence, I guess? So
I think it's a pleasant surprise.
Yeah.
Because I've gone into NFL seasons where I felt like we were going to repeat as champions, and we had a rough year. With expectations low, being able to exceed those has been like a pleasant surprise to people around. But like, with the way each game has gone, it's like, okay, I could see that happening. But definitely, like, you're pleased because you're just trying to align your expectations with what happens. And so, the difficult thing is when you get frustration is when your expectations aren't met.
Sure.
And so I wouldn't necessarily say like we're shocked, but also just like we're excited to be here,
right.
You know, so.
You've been part of winning teams that have made it deep into the postseason. What does that winning recipe, I guess, look like from a coaching staff's perspective of a team that's going to make a deep run? What is the genetic makeup of a team who is not, letting their foot off the gas at this time of the season?
It's funny you say foot on the gas. So that's the name of our defensive back group chat. And so I think the main thing, especially with us being a young team, is continue to push ourselves and finding ways to evolve through adversity. Because, when we were a championship team, there was a lot of adversity that we had occurring on a day-to-day basis that we had to overcome. Mm-hmm. You have personalities, you got competitiveness. And so, just being able to evolve and create, the vision for what you want to be, and like remaining present and understanding like we've got to take it day by day, week by week, because you could be on top of the world one week and then the next week everybody thinks you're not going to win another game. Yeah. And so the only thing that's constant is how you show up for yourself and the people around you and how you continue to put the work in.
Tell me more about the group chat. Who named that? What does that mean? Was that an inside joke?
So in the spring, I was a little upset at the guys because we had a down day.
Okay.
Some of our young guys were making plays during OTAs, and it just it came to me during the offseason when we were getting ready for training camp that we have a young team, and in order to get what we want, we've got to keep our foot on the gas. Mm-hmm. We can't relax, and we've got to stay the course. So if it's me being the one pushing the buttons of the people, or it's the other guys, it's just a reminder that's got to be our calling card as we mature as a football team.
And I think even using Lathan as that example from last week to this week, mm-hmm. where there was a play that happened where he could have gotten really down. He was probably hearing a lot of outside noise. He told us he heard a lot of outside mm-hmm. noise. And to respond just the following week in what was arguably one of the biggest plays of that win against Tampa. Mm-hmm. What does that say about your core for the DBs, but also just young players in general on how they're learning and, don't let you sweat the small stuff sort mm-hmm. of thing and keep looking forward and don't let your foot off the gas? Yeah,
I think he's been a really impressive rookie because one thing I learned about Lathan is about the Rams game is that he responds best to when people doubt him. Mm. And so with the play that happened against the Saints, gunfighters get shot. And, Lathan's is definitely a gunfighter. So those type of plays may happen. But we as a coaching staff, we don't want to change anything about him. And so, we had total trust and belief that he'd be ready when the next play. And so I think a lot of the guys are like that is, we just try to have a shooter's mentality. And if we miss, that just means we're getting closer to a make. And if we make, that means we're going to make it again. So, I think a lot of the guys exude that, and Lathan were just the most recent example. I think with Nick Scott being available for consistent plays, and I think there was a lot of outside noise about his play from last year, and we've had a lot of belief in Nick Scott from the very beginning since we got him. We won a championship with him, and he was an excellent player. And it's just kudos to who he is as a person, to be able to overcome the bumps in the road and to be able to be available and a constant for us on the back end. Because I don't think we'd be able to do the things we are. He's a captain in communication. So I'm just really proud of the work that he's put in, and he's a big part of our glue.